Oh, Kevin, I feel so lost without you. I need advice on how to be a better man. How am I supposed to objectify women in the right way so that they know their place? Why'd you have to leave us so soon? I'm starting to think it's my fault I can't keep a relationship. Who's gonna tell me that's not true? You better get in that kitchen and make some damn spaghetti, or you get the fuck out, bitch!
Who the hell you talking to like that, nigga? You must have lost your motherfucking mind. You know what? I'm leaving.
Hello, everyone. Ooh. What's up, y'all? So the last couple of days I've been seeing a lot of people putting up videos talking about really stupid, dangerous men. So I just wanted to upload a little video of my own talking about a fraudulent man whose opinion no one should have been caring about in the first place, but because people did care, or rather because their opinions lined up so closely with his, he ended up getting a lot of praise and a lot of just general attention from the web. It bothers me. Some of y'all probably already know who we're going to be talking about today. Because maybe you passed 4th grade English. Oh my gosh. You can read. Okay, please stop. So let's go over a couple of things about this man. This man being Sammy Davis Jr., Samuel Jackson, no, Kevin. I always forget this man's name. Honestly, every time I'm not talking about him, my brain is just like, we don't need that information. Just get rid of it. Get rid of it. So let's talk about Kevin Samuels. Many of you may not know who he is, so I'm gonna just give you a quick rundown, okay? Well, first of all, he's dead. Well, and second of all, he was sort of a relationship guru, if you could call it that. He touted the value of objectifying people entering into a relationship to the point of minimizing them down to like their assets, what they bring to the relationship, not in terms of personality or morals or values, but in terms of, okay, you have a car, okay, I have a house, okay, you have kids, and yes, he includes the kids as a part of the assets. We'll get into that a little later in the video. Oh, and can I just say above everything that this was all a ploy, like regardless of the fact that, oh yeah, he probably does have these beliefs, but on top of that, he mostly only says stuff like this so that he can pander to a very specific set of men. Men who want to be heard that nothing in the relationship that happens is their fault because they bring all of what is needed into the relationship as far as they're concerned, like money, like assets. Okay. All right.
And a lot of times guys don't want to hear that truth. We just don't. You know, if I come on here talking about, you know, female nature, such and so forth. And if I would start bashing women or talking noise, oh man, the likes and everything would go through the roof. But when you start talking to men, saying, guys, you know, cheap is some of the most expensive stuff out there.
He has definitely leaned into this further than he maybe would have if he wasn't getting popular off of those specific opinions. It's the same with all of these rich men who get rich off of YouTube. Sooner or later, you start to get wise to the fact that if you spread certain opinions, certain people will flood your fan base and make you a bigger individual, someone to be reckoned with in the entertainment business. Maybe not something that you would want to do based upon your morals, maybe not something that you would, you know, advertise that you do, but you would do it. Most people would do it. Sorry. It's just true. Most of the people you like do it. Just saying. Next. Besides being a relationship guru, he was also a trampler of women who thought that they maybe deserved too much out of a relationship that they would have with a supposed rich man. And sometimes he was right. A lot of the times he was right, because some of these women were just straight up.
And now you're asking for a man who's in the top 10% of men. You don't qualify for one. Why can't you just get a man that's an average guy?
Sometimes I feel like in order to fully submit, I have to feel like he's in.
Well, then you're gonna die alone. How about that? Let me just cut to the chase, ma'am. You can feel like what you want to, but women like you die alone.
And because a lot of these women's expectations were very high, a lot of them were entitled, but also a lot of the times he was just putting women down for their looks and asking them what they bring to the table.
You in 6 months and married you, and you were building a life with it, but he was cheating with a married woman. So you wrecked your own home.
So you think I should have stayed with him when he was cheating the entire time?
Yeah, because now what you got?
Well, hopefully to find someone who's loyal.
Nope.
I'm like a 4.
You mind backing the camera up?
My face looks a lot heavier. I hold a lot of weight in my face, but I'm petite.
You ladies need to come to this realization that you've been told college and careers make you valuable. It does not make you valuable to us as men.
And can you explain what would make us valuable?
Yeah, feminine, friendly, cooperative, submissive, childless. Those things make you valuable. The ability to be coachable and trainable and teachable. The ability to get on our program, follow our lead. You're a valued counsel, but we make the decision. You're talking about a top 1% man, and you're talking like a modern woman who wants a partner, and you ain't paying for shit. I talk about dress size, not weight.
Okay, dress size, it's still in the same correlation.
No, it's not. It is absolutely not. You can wear dress size 6 or dress size 4 and have a different body composition because muscle weighs more than fat. See, I've accounted for that.
So you do know that.
Well, look here, smart ass. I'm the fucking image consultant, and I'm about to make a real bad day for you if you don't check that smart ass mouth talking to a grown damn man.
So I could take a plumber and have him have an entire business because that's the way that my mind works.
That ain't gonna work, boo.
It's not. So
because you're gonna emasculate the hell out of him. Thomas, you've been a plumber for 20 years and you just happy, yeah. But now she got me trying to have a truck and this and that going over here and that. And what's that gonna be like sitting up in the bed on Sunday when Thomas wants to sleep in? Hey, you know you should get up and start that website. We can do this, we can do that.
Now you see why I say somebody gotta be on the same frequency as me, somebody that enjoys preparing and creating.
But you're on a masculine frequency.
Oh, okay. Okay,
are you all right being 1 of 5?
Oh, I already had this scenario, and I didn't like that.
You're not going to accept Thomas.
Why does Thomas have to be my scenario, though?
Because they don't want baby mamas.
What I've always known to be true is that if you have a certain attitude about things or about people or about life, you end up attracting certain people. So what I see is him having certain beliefs about women and therefore attracting certain women. Having beliefs about how women should be this, how women should be that, this, that, and the other. And so generally, the only women who really call into his show are the ones who are really insecure with how their life is going, with the fact that they may or may not have a man, blah, blah, blah. So every single day that he gets on these calls to do his fucking show, he's getting a big whopping serving of confirmation bias. Like, oh, I believe women are this way, and these women constantly call into my show. And also, okay, this side note, this isn't really related to what I was just saying, but I believe that Kevin Samuels gets off on telling women that they are ugly, telling women that they will never find a man, telling women that they are below him and all men. And I believe that, and you'll see more of this later on in the video, he completely forgets that his beliefs on how a woman should be is his opinion. But what it is straight facts, that his opinions do not reflect all men. So when he comes on here and he says these things about men in general having certain expectations or opinions about what a woman should be, what he is basically doing is attracting all of the most insecure women so that he can talk down to them and pump himself up. What he has done is set himself up to get as much narcissistic pleasure out of strangers that he possibly can. And I just thought maybe I should go ahead and say that, because that's what it is. These men never stop to think for a second that, maybe all of the stuff that I say about women keeps certain women that I might actually like away from me. They never think that. They never think, maybe it's me. It's never them. It's never them. Strange, isn't it? The woman that they want does not want them. They know this, and they get upset, and then they start trampling on women who they perceive to be under them. Besides those kinds of people, the only other kinds of people in his camp or in his fan base are like heavily Christian people, purely like religious, very traditional, conservative, extremely heteronormative, you know, all of those things. What these people want out of a relationship is very specifically hyper heteronormative bullshit. That's what they want. If it's not what society has been deeming perfectly legitimate for a relationship for the past, I don't know, 10,000 years or so, if it's not that, they don't want it, throw it out of the window. Like, it doesn't matter if it works for y'all, okay? If it's not what they want it to be, is it even really legitimate? Are gay people even a thing? These people are really on some, why do they even need a parade type of energy? Why do they need a parade?
If I could turn back time, I'd keep marriage between a man and a woman, bitch.
Oh my God. A lot of his fans tend to be from that side of the fence. And I say that only because a lot of what he preaches tends to be heavily based in Christianity. It's very similar to what Jordan Peterson does, where it's like, oh, I'm preaching general truths, but also these general truths just so happen to come from a book from which I am devout to as a religious person. It's that very sneaky guru energy for me. And we all know how some religious people tend to become dogmatic and mix up their beliefs with facts. I.e. Congress right now. Where's the separation of church and state? I'm looking for it. I don't see it. Where is it? Where? And I'm not saying it. Where is? Anyways, I digress. Kevin Samuels is definitely no exception to this. And we can see this in how he would tell women on a regular basis that they are lesser than men in both intelligence and spirituality. Just as any Bible would lead you to believe if you read it in a certain way. Because let's not pretend that people don't believe what they want to believe regardless of facts. Men like him want to believe that women are lesser so that they can justify their disgusting behavior towards them. Here's a video that I have to show you of Kevin Samuels disregarding a very well-meaning and smart young woman. Roll the clip!
You said, what? I think I referenced that being specific to the area you're making a generalization. So if we're talking about women in... It's hot in Arizona. It's hot in Arizona. Is it always hot in Arizona? For the most part, yes. But it's not always. But is the generalization valid? Yes, for sure. Okay, all right. So what I talk about is broad generalizations that are broadly true for most women. Why do we need to go into the tangential or the nuance? I think, for me, I've been waiting to see someone that has a similar train of thought or belief system as me on your show, or you talking about someone like me, if that makes specific. I'm being broad. So, for example, a lot of times you have women on your show who are 30s and above with kids, like, in and out of relationships. That's not me. And so when I'm going into the show, I'm like, is he going to talk about someone like me? And so that's what does that mean? What is someone like you? I'm waiting to have sex till marriage. So when dating, me dating is different than someone
Ma'am, I've had at least 7 shows on that very topic.
Okay. And I did say I was new, so I definitely missed it, and that's on me.
Yeah, matter of fact, there's 3 or 4 videos up for this year. Okay. Is this a religious belief?
Yeah, for the most part. It's like a promise I made to God, so yeah.
Do you attend church regularly?
I just moved to DC about a year ago during COVID, and so it's been pretty hard to find churches. But I've worked in ministry for a while, and I'm still very part of my church back home in Seattle, just online, so not a physical church.
So the answer is no.
But because of COVID, they only have online churches.
Yeah, we've been, okay, no. You could have been at, no. This is a belief that you hold strongly, but you're not in the body.
I am. I'm just not a member of a church.
You have a church home you visit, you have a church home you go to weekly. Do you have a church home that you go to weekly?
Yes.
Is there an active singles ministry?
I just started going to it around Easter, so I'm not sure. I don't think so, but I could definitely check it out. It's a very small church.
Stop. Here we already get to the problems. You don't go to a church regularly. The church you go to doesn't have an active singles ministry, so I'm sure they don't have a ministry that's actively promoting marriage with you. Why did you pick the church you attend?
So I was going to one church in a different part of the DMV, and I noticed some of the things the pastor believed.
How are you supposed to find out?
I'm a member of a Black professionals networking group, and so
that's not Christian. It's not Christian.
Or it's
how are you supposed to see? It comes down to.
May you let me finish, please?
No, because you go on and go on.
I was trying to tell you.
No, that's not how that's going to work. That's not how that's going to work. And that's not how it's going to work because I've given you plenty of latitude. You don't answer directly. The bottom line is you can have your belief. But I'm asking you this fundamental blocking and tackling. How are you supposed to find Mr. Right? How are you supposed to find you? And if you're in the dating environment with non-Christian people, being able to hold your chastity until marriage in a worldly dating environment, not likely.
Sort of what I was going to say is in these Black professional groups, they have different singles ministries for Christian, and I think those.
But again, who's leading you or guiding you in your quest to be found by your husband?
My pastor back home in Seattle.
Your pastor back home in Seattle, but you're not in Seattle.
Correct. And I do.
So my point is, I talk to women like that. When I talk about Christian feminism, why do you need to wait 1 to 2 years?
I mean, in my head that sounds right, but I think in my heart, there isn't no set rule when it comes to love, when it comes to finding a partner and someone to build with, you know?
Well, first off, you're not looking to find. That's why you really just fell apart. Christian feminist. Partner ain't got nothing to do with Christianity. Love, what love got to do with it? We didn't fall in love before we got married. We got married and we got used to one another. Because we didn't date prior to the 40s and the rise of the De Beers Company and Hallmark and all this other stuff. Your great-grandparents jumped brooms. There was no 1 to 2 year dating. Lastly, building is another modern woman fantasy. So, I think that many women, I know many women are in church, are of faith, who are not living that life.
Yeah.
So, you're in the dating market. You're in the dating market and you're 25 and you're only going to get older. And I'm going to tell you that a man waiting 1 to 2 years, I don't see that happening. And the reason I don't have conversations like this, ma'am, is because most people don't do this.
True.
And the reason you're doing it is your personal beliefs, but do you want to be a Christian? Do you want to have a Christian marriage? Christian hierarchy? Funny how that pause happened.
Kind of looks like he's trying to throw her off as much as possible so that he doesn't have to rationalize his own beliefs. And maybe somewhere in his psyche, he really believes that because he is able to throw her off so much, that in itself makes him superior to her, which is exactly what a coward like him would think. My guess is that a girl like this does not have that much experience with people who have such high levels of dissonance and narcissism. I would never guess that they would put her in this type of a position on purpose. But here we are. In the next 2 videos I'm going to show you, I'm going to demonstrate how Kevin Samuels objectifies people to the detriment of good, honest relationships.
But one of the first things I don't do is I don't judge why a person wants what they want. If women say they want a man who's 6 feet tall, 6 feet, okay, that's what you want, you just want. And same thing with a man. If that's what you want, that's what you want. But let's say the typical attractive woman, what is she wanting? Well, her beauty is currency. Yeah. She wants a good deal. So the basic line I've kind of given guys, however much her beauty's worth, that's how much she's looking for on the dollar side. So you can understand I don't use 7s in my system.
No, adjustable 6s.
But 8s, 9s, and 10s, those are the women that get, I use the old school standard. Pam Grier, but that would be Beyonce today. Kelly Rowland, that would be somewhere around the line of Diane Carroll. And then Halle Berry, 90s, it's hard to find a 10 these days. See, those kind of women have men men with resources. There's always going to be more resources. And I asked the guy, why do you want her more than anything else? And what these guys tend to want is they want her for acceptance. But here's the thing. I don't have a problem with hypergamy. Understand something. Women want you to be able to pay the bills. All of them. One of my most insightful questions I ask women, do you want to have to pay substantial bills after you're pregnant? And out of the 6 months of asking that question, I've had 2 women say, I don't mind.
So this is something that I just need to clarify real quick. So here he says most women who plan on getting pregnant would want a man who can take care of all the bills. And here's my thing. If a woman gets pregnant, of course she wants someone who's going to take care of all the bills, because most women would want to stay home and take care of the kids, which in itself is a job, right? And let me also point out that he has said nothing of women who don't want children or don't plan on having children anytime soon. Most of the time, in most cases, those kinds of women have a career. So what is he trying to say? That a woman with a career would not want to help with the bills, at least a little bit? In other clips, you'll hear him say things like, a man of value does not care about whether or not you have a career in education and whether or not how much money you make and blah, blah, blah. But here it almost seems as if he's complaining about women wanting someone to take care of them should they have a child, which just seems kind of crazy to me. But okay, let's keep the clip going.
That means across the board. Do you want to have to pay substantial bills? They tend to want a man who is in that top 10%, $100,000, to their top 5% or even 1%. And here's the reality. Do you want those problems? Because as a man who has dated beautiful women, I will tell you what I know more than anything else for men who have those kind of women. If it doesn't work out or they pick the woman for the wrong reasons, one of the first things they say, I just want somebody that's going to be nice to me.
I'm going back to the initial point about not being able to rank yourself. So you're familiar with the idea of assortative mating, right?
Yes.
So basically, for people who don't know, assortative mating is that people want someone who's similar to them. If I'm Nigerian, I want Nigerian. If I'm Catholic, I want Catholic. If I'm Republican, I want Republican. You usually want somebody similar to who you are. But the problem, what occurs now is, especially, we'll get to the women point later, so fellas, relax.
All right.
But what happens is when you view yourself as a top-notch male,
yes,
you then feel as though mating what fits me, like you said, find someone who fits you. Now you feel like what fits me is a top-notch woman.
Yes.
And so you say, I don't want any of these adjustable 6s, 5s. I don't want anybody. I just want, I want the 8s, 9 to 10 because I, as a man, am an 8, 9, and 10.
Right.
And so that's one of the biggest things that I've been seeing going on is that a lot of people are not willing to be honest with themselves to see really what fits you along the lines of assortative mating.
Well, and it gets even deeper than that, because we have told everybody that everyone can win. So here's the thing. To get from time immemorial, beautiful, powerful men are around beautiful women. Okay, we understand that there's a standard. But see, here's the thing. If you've been told everybody can win and you want the outcomes, the 8, 9, or the 10, but you don't have the high value resource that the group defines, you try to pay for it in different ways with swag, game. But it's all it's all like it's counterfeit currency, because at the end of the day, cool, you may be able to get her, but can you move in these spaces? Because when you go around these other men who this woman would tend to hang in these circles and hang around these kind of men, do you fit with the other guys? And they're like, oh yeah, and see, that's the thing. Most guys realize that. So they know, and here's the thing, men are more realistic than women because we get rejected more often. But it's still out there. They still want it. So here's the thing. I tell guys, want what you want, but buy what you can afford.
I love that.
To a point, he is right in the way that he says these things, but only because our society has become more willing to typify itself in order to gain what it perceives to be a more profitable end. And so this game that he's selling works for the people who already have this mindset of objectifying everything to the point of all of life having no real value. What I find interesting is that instead of telling people to find someone that they can bond with emotionally and intellectually, he starts to rattle on about how high-value men wants a beautiful woman, and frames a high-value man as someone who has a lot of money and says nothing of personality, integrity, honesty. Even disregards all of that and says even if you have all of that plus swag, you won't be able to keep your conventionally beautiful woman if you begin to move in spaces where high-value men also tend to frequent. The whole thing to me sounds really rather caveman-like. And no matter how eloquently he tries to put it, what it all really boils down to is something that you would hear in any rap song nowadays. Sentiments such as, I'm rich and I can steal your girl. One more thing that I find extremely interesting is that he doesn't say that this is something that only pertains to a certain portion of women. He generalizes women like as a whole and says, oh, yes, definitely all women would be lucky to have a man that provides them with all of this money and all of this status, and all they have to do is be beautiful and they would be more than happy to be in that position. All women. He implicates generally all women and assumes that all women would fall into the category of wanting a man who is rich, regardless of what other personality traits he might have. Therefore, they would and should be willing to accept whatever personality traits those might be. Oh, he's aggressive? Oh, well, he's rich. Oh, he's treating you like shit? Oh, well, he can get away with that. He's rich. Like, he's providing for you. He's giving you everything that you want monetarily. You're gonna let that slip away just because he's treating you like a garbage bin? Seriously? You ever met a rich man? You can imagine what kind of qualities most of these rich men have. Money don't buy class, honey. In the next clip, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of what Kevin Samuels means when he says high value.
Welcome back. For those of you who don't know, my name is Kevin Samuels. We're kidding. The reason you're here right now is because the term high value man seems to be everywhere. Full disclosure, I didn't create the term, guys. High value man has been with us for a long time. I have just put my own unique spin on it and kind of popularized it, and it has kind of gone viral. First of all, let's go over some basic definitions. High, great, greater than normal in quantity, size, or intensity. Value, the regard of something held to deserve, the importance, worth, or usefulness of something. And man, an adult human male. So when you put all that together, what do you have? An adult human male that's greater than normal importance or usefulness to what? The group. Basic economic principle states that the value of something is what a market is willing to pay for it. The value is determined by what? The market. And when we're talking about individuals, the market is other people, men or women. So a high value man is completely determined by the market. Case in point, you can have a vehicle, a home, anything in your possession. You can hold it dear. It could be supremely important to you. But when you put it on the market decides. And there's an upper limit and a lower limit. It doesn't really matter if you think the low is too low or the high is not high enough. That's what the market is willing to pay for it, and that is its overall value.
Straight up starts comparing people to a car that you sell. Now, this concept of classifying individuals in order to sell them is all well and good when we're talking about things pertaining to a job. You know, there you want to objectify yourself because both parties know that they only want you for what you can provide for them in exchange for money. But romantic relationships are not supposed to be solely about that. Nowhere near. And I mean, if you were to just watch this video alone and not know anything about what Kevin Samuels is about, you probably would not guess that he's talking about relationship prospects. Real and lasting relationships are supposed to be personal. They're not supposed to be akin to things that you can just quit the second the other party isn't giving you what you want. Why? Because that's very akin to being a prostitute. And don't get me wrong, I am in no way disparaging sex work, but what I'm saying is it's a form of work, not a model for the kind of bond you would hope to have with your life partner. But then again, because this man believes that men have a right to cheat, not women though, he probably does not even value actual relationships. No actually real, close, and loving relationship would be able to handle such imbalance and dishonesty. And this makes it all the less believable that he would ever be taken seriously as a relationship guru in the first place. The next video I have to show you is one where we really start to uncover the very nature of Kevin Samuels and get to the center of how his religious beliefs have helped him come to form the misogynism that he propagates.
It's true.
And the problem is, y'all are on the front line fighting. Because you're strong and you can travel and this and that, and y'all are unprotected. And you're always complaining, you're so unprotected. You're unprotected because you cannot work under us. You don't trust us to lead you. But you'll go spend your money in that institution to get that degree. You'll go spend money over here, you'll trust the job, but you don't trust the one thing that's always been your protection, your man. Yeah. Every other race of women, when the chips are down, lines up with their man. Black women, you get away from.
So first, he generalizes black women as people who can't trust a man to lead them. And then he generalizes all men as people who deserve to be trusted to lead, all while assuming that women need someone to lead them, and uses women feeling unprotected as a factor for why they need a man to lead them at all. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that kind of seems like a veiled threat. Like, oh my gosh, you don't feel protected? Well, you better get a man, or else could end up in a ditch. You could end up in a ditch. Just saying. Women should feel protected whether or not they're in a relationship with a man who is willing to protect them. Why? Because we live in a society where no one should feel threatened simply because they exist while having a vagina. He then basically says that women should be pursuing these types of relationships that can protect them instead of getting a job or getting a degree. Whatever would provide her with basic stability should the man that's supposed to be protecting her suddenly starts beating on her. Because, you know, these women always trying to be independent so they don't have to rely on abusers for basic necessities. What's up with that? He also says that black women trust black men less than any other race of women trusts their men. And that's like a whole different issue. Really doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about today. But I just want to get into it a little bit. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of pain behind that kind of thing. Behind that whole insinuation that, oh, we should trust them. As if they have earned our trust. Maybe as individuals, I know a lot of black men that I trust, would maybe even trust with my life because they're good people. Do I trust black people in general? Do I trust black men in general? Hell no. I don't trust white people. I don't trust people in general. I don't trust anybody in general. So generalizations like this tend to hold no real weight. And I feel like he only says these kinds of things to trigger guilt in black women to make them more malleable. My opinion. And let me go further and say this. Women in general tend to not trust men in general, especially when those women live in a society that does not value them as much as men. And then he says this.
Until we start having these conversations about the right man, the right man is the one that looks like you with a nose as big as yours, the one that tells you to sit your ass down. We ain't partners. You belong to me. The kids belong to you.
I belong to God. We report up. Get in line or get the fuck out. Every other race of women seems to understand that.
Get in line or get the fuck out. And this right after you told me not to become independent regarding finances. Okay. Yeah, I am all ready to pack up my shit and move in with you and not get a job and not get any type of degree that would allow me to make my own money and completely depend upon you, a clear abuser. What the fuck? Somebody who would probably throw me out the second I didn't do what the fuck he wanted me to do. Yeah, let me go ahead and pack up my shit and move in with you. Bitch. No. No healthy woman is trying to be under your roof, my nigga. So basically he thinks men are closer to God and in a way regards men as the gods of women. If that's not misogyny via Christianity, I don't know what the hell is. And you know what? It's all really sickening because you would hope that when you're in a family unit, everyone is equal and able to advocate for themselves in a way that is respectful to themselves and everyone else. And not just be oppressed by someone who thinks they should be the lead of the household just because they're an adult with a dick. And it gets even more sickening when you get to the next clip.
Your child an asset to the kind of man you want to marry.
How can I make my child an asset?
To the kind of man you would want to marry.
I feel like I would have to train her to be an asset, as in get her ready for life in general. Put her in classes, make sure she's smart, make sure she's not, put in that time to make her a better person. Correct?
I'm asking. No, I'm asking because I'm asking.
Am I right?
The question is how to make your child an asset to that man. That makes her an okay person. But how can you adopt? And this is a question all women are going to have to answer for themselves. How are my children benefiting you as my husband?
I never thought about that.
Well, and that's the problem.
What would you suggest? I'm just wondering because
I would say it's going to be extremely difficult. But what I would suggest is women who actually think about it from the man's side, understanding that my child today is a liability because it costs. So number one, is she well-mannered, well-behaved, smart, taken care of? Does she understand, and do I really believe that you're going to come second to my husband? Mm-hmm. Is my husband going to come first? Or is it we're a package deal? If you're a package deal, that's no deal. I'll be honest, it's a package deal, that's no deal, because let's say you and I were to get married, you got a daughter, right? Mm-hmm. And let's say we have 2 kids together. Mm-hmm. And your child is 5. So 10 years from now, your daughter comes home and says, Kevin looked at me getting out of the shower. What happens next?
The relationship would have to end.
Huh?
That's not something, the relationship would end immediately.
Because your daughter said I looked at her getting out of the shower.
Why would that person even be close to the bathroom to see her? Mm-hmm. That would be the thing. You have to defend your seed. You have to defend your child.
Mm-hmm. But you also remember you got 2 of my kids. Mm-hmm. So that means I should never listen to it. That means I should avoid women like you, because off the rip, your desire to defend your child blew up. You got 2 of my kids, and off rip, your protective instinct says fuck everything, including those other 2 kids.
Understood.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. No, I understand.
You said the relationship would have to end. So what would you tell our 2 children?
That's a tough situation.
No, you said the relationship would have to end. So
it would have to end because.
But what would you tell
any of my kids? If I have 3 kids, 1 by someone else and 2 by my future
But what I'm
husband.
telling you, what I'm saying is what we tell our 2 children.
Your half-sister stated this happened and this is not a comfortable situation and we have to part ways.
You can get the fuck out. You can get the fuck out.
because I'm not the one paying the bills.
No, you know, because you're not taking my kids. See, that's what I mean. Y'all act like y'all got too much power.
It's not power. I'm really
First of all, you didn't
humble.
even. First off, you didn't even. I just said if she said it, you didn't even. You didn't even question whether or not the claim was there. Because that's your child. That's why I'm saying your child can never be an asset to anybody, because that's the bomb that's always there.
Okay.
To me, sounds like he's using these supposed relationship should-bes as betting chips to make an abused woman and her child more likely to stay with a potential predator simply because he is a man of value. Because why would somebody even be thinking of a scenario like this if they didn't plan to follow through with it? And you can see the woman in this video starts to go along with it, because she seems to not be able to handle the possible scenario of a man walking out on her after Kevin starts to reframe the situation, not as her rejecting him for being a pervert, but as him rejecting her for supposedly breaking up the family unnecessarily. He frames the man in this situation as infallible and disregards all women who would come to the defense of their child against the threat of sexual exploitation. Because in his words, the child, too, is an asset. It's part of what the woman brings to the table. You get it? You get it? Are you getting it? Okay. Gross. It's clear to me that he is grooming women to be okay with abuse and the possible abuse of their child, and justifying all of it with threats to take away resources. All of his beliefs center around controlling women in order to use them in any which way he chooses. And let's not pretend that this mindset was not already well held within many social spheres of men. Our dear dead Mr. Kevin Samuels has just reframed them in a way that makes religious women feel guilty and therefore more vulnerable to these types of psychological attacks, while emboldening religious men, or incels in general, to treat women badly. All with the grand justification of, I'm not acting this way because I want to. This is what God wants. He basically wants women to not follow any of their own dreams and instead just settle and have kids with a man who pursues his own, all while emotionally abusing her. Like, if you want a slave, just say that. Just say that. But don't sit up here and pretend and make it seem like you want a loving, long-lasting relationship. Because we all know that's a lie! That's a goddamn lie! This man was dangerous and had no business giving dating advice to people in mass. Straight like that. But it's not completely his fault, because society fueled his rise. This is what people wanted to hear. And I think this reflects badly on us. Don't you? Alright, well, that's pretty much everything I wanted to say. I look forward to hearing from you guys in the comment section. Like and subscribe if you love the video. Okay, peace out. Bye.
I would so like it if you would subscribe.